Hello, how's it going? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. We are at the next release of the One Piece chapter, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck in to discussing, reviewing the chapter, seeing what we've got going on. So, no cover story this week. We are in a nice little colour spread from Oda of the Straw Hat eating a pizza, but Frankie and Robin don't seem to be in it, but everyone else is. You've got Chopper and like Brook off to one side. Sanji and Jinbei seem to be the one cooking, and everyone else is like tucking in with these flamingos trying to grab a piece. But chapter 1091, we are getting there now. This one is titled Sentomaru. So Kizaru was last chapter, he had his one. This one is titled All About Sentomaru, so I'm sure we're going to see some great action from him. Yeah. So, kicking off where we finished was Kizaru aiming and getting onto the island of Egghead. So he's begun his incursion, man can move at the speed of light. He is now on the island. The defense system just hasn't stopped him whatsoever. And as we saw, Sentomaru saw him coming or sensed him in some way with observation, whatever it may be, and gave the order for the pacifistas and the sea beasts to begin attack. So they were on the defensive, this impenetrable defense that even Vegapunk references later on, and Sentomaru's like, we're not going to make the move until they do. Because the moment they lose an admiral, then we start attacking. But Kizaru's gonna come anyway, so Kizaru charges, and all the pacifistas begin to unload onto the ships. Now these are the Mark IIIs. Now these are like we saw back in Sabaody, and this whole chapter is just like a lovely little reference to Sabaody. We saw what those ones were capable of, pretty strong. These are like the honor guard now, the elite levels that just would wipe the floor of the strongest of the strong pacifistas. This is what the Mark III are. And there's only 50, but they're immediately lined up on the edge of the shore, just putting in work. So Marines begin to fight back, and almost again out of nowhere, the sea beasts now get involved. So I think it's kind of funny. There's a lion, really cool, it just demolishes a ship. There is like a bull one in the background that we've seen, charging another ship. And then we just got a mouse that has like a drill for a nose, just letting loose. So a lovely double spread there of like just a carnage beginning. And we actually see two of the vice admirals jumping straight in, not messing around. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chin vice admiral, really long neck. He loads up steam knuckles. Now, unexpectedly, until this point, had noticed, but he now has a mechanical arm, a huge, just like power fist gauntlet. So one arm is just fully mechanical, and he uses it and just crushes one of the sea beasts' head, like literally like indents it into itself, destroyed. The next is Doll gets straight into action. She jumps onto land, so she's just abandoned ship, jumped onto land, and has just like flying kicked one of the pacifistas on the island. So we're even getting confirmation that the vice admirals are touching down. So what it looks like is there's going to be an all-out fight on the sea between all the pacifistas, all the marines. The vice admirals, the highest ranking, there was 9 of them, they're going to come to shore to just deal with the pacifistas themselves and whatever else, maybe the straw hats and that. But we come up to the labo where we see that Usopp is like watching on the little television screen just the war unfold, this fight, and saying like the Marines and the sea beasts are like, I just going at it now, like it's heating up. And Vegapunk comments that, with Sentomaru and the 50 pacifistas, the defense is like nigh impenetrable. Like he's got them under his command. and we get a refresher similar to the Seraphim about the pacifistas command hierarchy. So you still need an authority chip, but it's Sentomaru, Vegapunk and the satellites, 5 elders is what is shown in the picture. And it says, look, there is a full squad there. That, there's not going to be it. And then like the straw hats in the room drop this literal spaghetti when they see like, whoa, hang on, but aren't we right about who Sentomaru's fighting there? And like Nami's like, yeah, that's Kizaru. They've sent an admiral, and then Brooke's like, oh, yeah, dark memories from Sabaody. They've come back to haunt us, and they're just both like they're already fighting, and Vegapunk's like, oh, it had to be Kizaru, didn't it? It's just too cruel at this point. I'm sorry, Sentomaru. I understand if you want to flee, if you want to run from this. And we literally just see a shot of Kizaru just like flying kick into Sentomaru. He had that strong defense, not anymore. Kizaru, we know he loves a good leg attack. We've seen him fight before. This just sends Sentomaru flying, and he uses another one of his techniques. That each of his attacks is named after one of the regalias of Japan. It says in the comment, and it's Yasagi no Magatama, the one where he fires like loads of beams of light, just like annihilates the ground. And we got like Sentomaru like running away from it, which is quite a funny action shot. But he says, you know what, like I'm not like he's not surrendering because that's what Kizaru's like. Kizaru doesn't want to fight him really, and he's like, look, I gave my word to Straw Hat. I'm not going to give up. He grabs his big axe, jumps up at Kizaru, and like he's like, why are you being friends with like a pirate? Like, come on. And Sentomaru is not doing it for Luffy. He says, I owe my life to the old man. I owe my life to Vegapunk. Don't care whose side I've got to take, as long as it helps and protects him. And he takes a massive swipe, and Kizaru just separates his body into like light and just sweeps clean through. So we get a shot of them clashing in the sky, and the flashback, our little Sentomaru flashback, where he stood atop 3 bears who were just badly beaten, and Vegapunk and young Kizaru are both there, very young, and saying like, what's happened here. We heard there was like bears that were attacking, but they've already been dealt with. Like, who's this kid? And Sentomaru just like dead tiny, but it's like, yeah, the villagers just wimps. I just want to get paid. I just did the job. I'm just hungry. And Vegapunk's like, well, what are you gonna do with the money? He's like, onigiri. That's what I want. That's all I want. Just some food. Onigiri. And we get a lovely shot of Kizaru being like, ooh, yeah, sounds good. But we cut back to a really creepy shot of like Kizaru's face being like, yeah, you were pretty cute back then. But we see that Vegapunk has said, you know what, if you want money then, how about I hire you as a bodyguard? And he's like, a job, awesome. And he is being trained by Kizaru. He's like, look, I've got to protect Grandpa Punk. You can teach me. And he's like, look, like I taught you the best I could, Sentomaru. And Sentomaru does like a sort of sumo type strike, this palm move. But Kizaru's not taking it. He's just like, my God, ain't anything to sneeze at. And just annihilates Sentomaru on the spot. Like, I mean, the we thought Garp's Galaxy first explosion was big. This is like not even a big panel in comparison, but my goodness, the explosion that comes off this one single laser from Kizaru is just nuts. Sentomaru's out, annihilated, just in that one attack. So he put up a fight for all of what would probably be about 30 seconds, but he lasted longer than most. Did a fair amount. But authority chip is now in Kizaru's hands, and he's like, right, pacifista units come in. Previous command is unconscious, so I am now taking control. It's being transferred to me. Change your plan. Attack the sea beasts. Send them to the ocean floor. And just like that, the objective of the pacifistas has now changed. Kizaru has control. That has just changed the tide of this attack immediately. Those 50 high strength, high quality, high tiered pacifistas are now under Kizaru's command. So, unless Vegapunk can somehow get an authority and override it, or even so, it won't matter because Saint J. Garcia is there, and he's like, it's a shame that we're losing the sea beasts, but he's like, you know what, the pacifistas are the better asset to secure, so I'm okay. Keep me updated with any casualties. We jump back and Usopp, like, Sentomaru's like, he's done. He's on the floor. He's out. He's burned to a crisp. And Vegapunk's like, right, there is no time to dilly dally. There is no time to dilly dally. We are immediately trying to crack whatever York has put up as a password for this defense. We can't waste any time now. Like, the time he's given us, we need to put it to use. So York's just being smug as ever, like, you're never going to crack it. But Vegapunk now reveals to everyone, he's like, look, we've got to be focused because Kizaru could be coming up here any second now. And they're like, wait, what? And he's like, oh, we are aware that he can just pass through the lasers. He's made of light. It's the barrier's not going to stop him. And he's like, well, you're telling me this whole time he can just go wherever he wants. And I was like, look, he nearly wiped us back in the day, and we don't want to face him again. And even Kizaru's like, oh, it's this oddly nostalgic Straw Hats. Like, I'm getting all emotional. And he just whoop, immediately in a flash jumps straight past the fight up into the labo. And he's like, look, we've got to get down. And we jump to Vega Force 1. Luffy, Bonnie, Frankie, and Lilith are inside, and they are carrying the Sunny to the other side of the island, the northeastern side of the island, where they need to be ready to, like, go off to Elbaf. And as they are running, the emergency alarm blares, and they're like, wait, what? Why is there a siren? And Lilith, like, that only goes off when, like, someone's infiltrated or is, like, invading. But how has anyone got through the barrier? And we see a shot of the Labo stratum, like, where Kizaru's like appearing through the clouds, and he's like, oh, the power station, Punk Records York, they're the things that can't become collateral in this fight. And I wish I could have added old friends. And then there is just like a grimace to his face, like, but Dr. Vegapunk's elimination is our top priority. And he's almost angry now. Like, we've seen him quite laid back for a lot of times, but man, he is game for this now. He can't, like, step a foot wrong because St. J. Garcia is literally on a ship waiting. So the sirens go out, Kizaru is infiltrated, and they're like, look, Luffy and the others, they're making their way around the back now. This isn't good, but, we can't lift the barrier if they're not in position ready and we're not ready. And then Stussy, like, gets a little, like, motion, and little Karu is, like, squawking. Lucci has charged Vegapunk down and was ready to give him a finger pistol. Stussy gets in the way and blocks it, and, like, his finger is just, like, completely covered in blood. Stussy's just took a massive hit for protecting Vegapunk, for protecting the Stella. She has seen that Luffy was waiting this whole time, and Lucci is just, like, watching on the floor. And props off to our two boys. Immediately, Sanji has grabbed a bubble gun from Nami. He's like, sorry, Nami, let me just borrow this. And he is trapped Kaku in one of those bubbles that we saw the Seraphim in. And he's like to bubble, and he's like, seems your friends left you out the loop here. And Zoro, two swords out, up to Lucci's leg. And, like, Zoro's just being like, wow, you decide to grow a spine now that your friends arrived. Funny that, isn't it? But Lucci's like, now that Kizaru's arrived, when the both of us are working together, you're as good as dead. And Zoro and him have like clashed and have been sent out the lab now. So they've crashed through the wall. Zoro's like pushed him through, and he's like, you know what? Now is not the time to underestimate us. So we've got a Zoro Lucci clash. We know Luffy could beat Lucci. It's happened before. It happened again. Now Zoro is having to clash with Lucci. So a nice little upgrade for Zoro. Fighting Lucci's a pretty strong opponent because Luffy has his hands full. As Kizaru has made it up onto the lab, he's like, "Oh, I was wondering how they were moving the ship," and he spots the Vega Force one, and we hear the others talking inside, being like, "Yo, wait, Luffy, what are you doing? Where you go? Wait, Luffy," and Luffy has gotten off Vega Force one, and he's just like, "Oh, long time no," and just gets interrupted with Luffy just like appearing in front of Kizaru and just like kicking him like full hacky, full like full kick. Kizaru just blocks it and he's like, "Yo, see you're as cheeky as ever, just starting off kicking." And Luffy's like, "We are 100 times stronger than we were 2 years ago, Kizaru." And that is where the chapter ends. Doesn't say there's a break next week. Oh, there is a break next week. Oh. Well, Luffy's not fighting Kizaru. Also, I already seen a post about it, but the "we're 100 times stronger" is a nice little nod back to when, obviously, Kizaru just annihilated the crew in Sabaody, or he could have. He basically had them on the floor. He was ready to kill Zoro. Rayleigh turned up. Luffy gave the order for everyone to retreat and flee, and that's when Kuma got involved. But they knew they were outmatched by just Kizaru alone. Like, he had fun during Sabaody. If he'd have taken it seriously, he would have killed them all. But it was because Shaki said to them in the bar, like, that guy's 100 times stronger than you. So that is a nice little callback reference from Oda for Luffy to be like, we are now 100 times stronger since then. So seeing how Kizaru is going to have to deal with Gear 5 really interests me. Because we saw how Kaido dealt with it. Big opponent. This guy's now a fast opponent. This guy is light itself. So, and Zoro clashing with Lucci. I mean, we knew Lucci was messaging the Marines in some way, like a transponder snail or through the pigeon. But now that he knew, Kizaru's appeared. But seems like the boys had to jump straight in and were the first ones to see. But again, Stussy was the one to call it first, Even she said, like, in the earlier chapters, like, "Why are you looking at me?" Like, she was, like, getting on to Lucci. But there is also the grand scheme of, well, what are the Blackbeard pirates doing at this time? So we had a long time ago now, goodness, a Blackbeard ship heading for Egghead. Now this was before the Marines have arrived. So somewhere on the island, we don't really know, but it should be before the Marines arrived. The other Blackbeard pirates that we haven't seen, so Lafitte and Carrier Davon, the more stealth operatives, have arrived on the island, to be believed, theorized. People thought, during the night, they've somehow taken on, with their abilities or whatever, people in the room. I'm fairly certain from this that Lucci is still Lucci because he used the finger pistol, he's aiming for Vegapunk. That seems to track. Stussy jumping in the way also seems like something she'd do. She's protecting the Stella. It's not like out of character. It's not like Katarina Devon was going to become Stussy and just like let it happen. Like and also she wouldn't jump in the way to block a shot like that. Like Stussy's took a big hit there. She didn't really get a chance to like defend against it. It was that momentary reflex to just throw a body in the way to protect Vegapunk. But Zoro again seems ready to fight. Seems like that is something he'd do. Poor Kaku, man, can't catch a break. He's just stuck in a bubble now. Literally fought two Seraphim, like bandaged up. Sanji's just like, yeah, no, no, we're not getting into this. We'll deal with Lucci. You stay in the bubble. So we'll see what the next chapter brings, but we are engaging in Admiral. So let me know what you thought of the chapter. We'll see you next time.